I'm Whitney Morgan, Hashimoto's coach, gluten-free warrior, and creator of the Thyroid Reboot Method and the Gluten Gauntlet System. If you know much about me, you know I don't mess around when it comes to being gluten-free. And you've probably heard me say over and over again, you're not gluten-free if your house isn't gluten-free. But I wasn't always such a hard ass about a gluten-free life. I spent years after my celiac diagnosis living in a house where other people were still eating gluten because, like so many of my clients, I didn't feel like it was fair to ask my family to give up gluten just because I had celiac disease. And I assumed that I was pretty good at keeping myself safe because I had already healed myself of not one, but 2 autoimmune diseases. Long before I found out about my celiac disease, I was diagnosed with interstitial cystitis, psoriasis, and Hashimoto's. And after going gluten-free, I completely healed my interstitial cystitis and my Hashimoto's, and my psoriasis had gone from unbearable to barely noticeable. So I figured I was doing pretty good, just keeping myself gluten-free and not inconveniencing my family. But then the universe sent me another autoimmune disease. But this time it was some mystery autoimmune illness. No specific diagnosis, no treatment, just a living hell. The primary symptoms of this mystery illness were pain, redness, burning, and swelling of my hands and feet. My feet were so painful I couldn't sleep at night. And during the day, the nerves in my hands and fingers were so hypersensitive that I couldn't touch anything. I spent most of every day walking around wearing gloves just so I could barely interact with the world around me. I felt completely cut off from the world and helpless and hopeless because there was just no solution in sight. So after about a year of living in constant misery and chasing nothing but dead-end solutions, I finally decided to get back to the basics. And the most fundamental truth for me in my health journey was that gluten was the cause of all of my autoimmune issues. So when I was finally at the end of my rope, I just decided that I needed to do the simplest, yet the hardest thing I could think of. And that was to make my whole house a gluten-free zone. So with as much love and compassion as I could muster, I told my family it was either me or the gluten. Now, my husband got on board immediately. With our daughters, it was a little more difficult. But we did it and we got through it. And within 6 months, the symptoms of my mystery disease were improved by at least 50%. And within the year, I was completely symptom-free. I would get an occasional 1 to 2 day flare, and that was it. And now, at the time of this recording, I can absolutely say that that mystery illness is gone. And you know, looking back on my health journey, it's completely mind-boggling to me now that 3 autoimmune diseases weren't enough to give me the kick in the ass I needed to put myself and my health first, above everything. But that last mystery illness was the scariest one of all, and it finally got me to a place where I was so miserable that I was willing to do the unthinkable, and that was inconvenience my family. But now I'm happy to say my husband loves living in a gluten-free house. And both of our daughters, though they've grown up and they've moved into their own apartments, they're both gluten-free now. And we all feel so much better for it. So what I hope you take away from this little bit of my story is that whether you have one autoimmune disease or several, don't let yourself be so worried about inconveniencing your family that you run the risk of yet another worse, more scary diagnosis down the road. Now, I know the idea of achieving a gluten-free house is overwhelming. I know that. I get it, and I've been there. And the thought of sitting down with your family to have that really tough conversation is absolutely paralyzing. And if you're willing to give it a try and make that commitment, I would love to support you in your effort. I have a mini course that has taught hundreds of women how to transition to a completely gluten-free house. And right now you can get the first lesson for free. And that first lesson is all about that tough conversation. It's all about setting yourself up for success with your family to get everyone on board. And it's free. You can find the link to register for that first lesson in the video description notes. Or if you're on Instagram, just head to my bio link. Thanks for listening to a bit more of my personal story. I hope it was valuable. And if it was helpful, you can let me know by liking it, subscribing to my channel, or maybe share the video with a friend who is struggling in their gluten-free life. And of course, if you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments. I really do try my best to answer each and every one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.